7 according to that watch. Anyways, 7:01 according to my Apple Watch, so we'll go with that. Pledge of Allegiance. We could all stand for that. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Rosner?
Here?
Council President Mays?
Here.
Councilor Young? Here. Councilor Scott?
Here.
Councilor Stankey?
Here.
I believe Councilor Giles and Councilor Browse are both absent.
That's correct. All right, thank you, Sylvia. Approval of the agenda? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have, it looks like 5 items. We have, first one is A, approval of the October 17th, 2023 City Council meeting minutes. Item B is approval of the October 24th, 2023 City Council meeting minutes. Item C is Resolution 2023-079, appointing members of the City Charter Review Committee. Item D is Resolution 2023-081, approving the Sherwood Police Department policy updates. And item E, last one, is Resolution 2023-082, appointing members of the Sherwood Youth Advisory Group.
I move consent.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Council. Citizen comments. Sylvia, do we have any tonight? Yeah. So I have Jim and Susan Claus, and I understand that you guys want to do 4 minutes each, so technically it'd be 2 sheets, but that's okay. Yeah, no worries. I would just, whoever would like to go first, go for it. Welcome. Awesome, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Your button, I can't
There we
hear
go.
you.
There we go. It's on.
Okay.
Well, welcome to the meeting.
Robert James Claus, 22211 Southwest Pacific Highway. We recently have kind of finished some things we've been working on, and all 6 of our kids are in graduate school or something similar. So I'm like Martin Luther King, free at last. So I called them and told them that I was thinking about some litigation. And they said, oh, no, not again. I said, yep. And they said, is it over the home place? I said, yes. I said, because if the one thing I learned at Stanford when I worked on a committee with Jacques Lee and the head of the math department was, look at a structural diagram, and if you're not following it, you're not intending to do what you're doing, or you're deluding yourself. And you've included that in your urban new renewal district number 2. You're not intending to develop it. So they said, well, Dad, you can take these guys on, and you're a specialist in exhausting administrative remedies and reach finality. He said, so make a point. They said, well, we've all got pensions. We're all in good jobs. There's no use talking to you. If you're going to do it, you can do it. But don't you think you ought to go to them because you did all of the math work on Mayor Alioto's urban renewal district, and you were the one that told Mayor, later Senator, and then Governor Pete Wilson, get rid of your urban renewal district in San Diego. They said, you know a lot more about it than you're letting on. I said, sure, you can't sell something if you tell it to somebody. Make them mad, do whatever you want, but don't tell them. So they said, sit down and work out the elements of that they're not doing to do what they're going to say they're doing. And you know it. I said, yes. And they said, exhaust your administrative remedies, go very carefully as you do it. And they said, Dad, you've had a lot of friends. that have passed away, and you're at the stage of life where you should take some consideration. I said, I don't know if that's a celebration statement or what. But what I'm going to do, and we have started, is we're going to make you an offer that is so good if you turned it down, and this is subject to the tax attorney we're getting, subject to the accounting, subject to the legal people, that if you turn it down, you never had any intentions of developing that strip. Now, my contention is fairly simple because we were told by Walmart, Kevin Sweet, and Martinez that Mays had stopped Walmart from locating there. And we also know, because they introduced a letter, which I hope you have, that, believe it or not, he told Opas, who was going to build a lifestyle mall there, they couldn't do it. They'd have to go to Langer's. So we're going to lay a thing out, and I'm going to put down traffic patterns, and incidentally, ODOT has agreed to cooperate. I don't know why Joe Gall never got back to them. And we're going to give you a layout, and then if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. But I've been there for better part of 50 years, and that property is dezoned. It's not developable. So we'll come back. With the 4 seconds I've got left, Mays said to talk to the realtor, but I'd prefer to talk to your planning department if it's okay, and I'll have Susan and Nathan do that. Would that be all right?
Well, thank you, Jim, for the comments, where this is not.
I'm sorry,
Thank you for your comments. This isn't a
okay.
time for Q&A.
But it's all right if I approach the planning department, I assume.
I think this is not a Q&A. Susan, go ahead.
He's saying it's not a Q&A. So before my time starts, will somebody answer that question for him? We just want to be able to, we've been working with the planning department, we just want to keep working with
We'll get back to you after the meeting on that.
But there's not a Q&A.
I'm sorry, public comment is not for back and forth.
That's a structural question. Is there any bar against me talking to the planning department? That's
We'll
a
get
yes
you
or
an
no.
answer after the meeting. Susan, you want your 4 minutes?
Oh, excuse me.
He doesn't know.
Oh.
They're gonna say after the
Yeah.
meeting.
Well, who
So,
did I talk to, city attorney?
We will get you an answer after the meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
So part of what Jim's talking about and what we're approaching about is the property out on the highway, you put it in the 2nd Urban Renewal District, and there's an allotment for $9 million toward an extension of Cedar Brook Way. But it's not on your books for 20 years. This is some of the most valuable commercial property that we have in Sherwood. It's along 99, which is the biggest, busiest road. So as part of that also, you have another project that is for a public right-of-way light somewhere between Sunset and Meineke. And what Jim referred to is there was a study group that we were putting together, and it wasn't Jim and I putting it together. It was ODOT had an interest in it, the city had an interest in it, and of course the landowners around there, because the placement of wherever the city's light is going to go is going to drive a lot of the development. And so part of what we're requesting is since we have the Urban Renewal District back in, there's money allotted for it. We are requesting if we can put together a team from the city, from ODOT. The ODOT people said they're standing ready, but the city has to initiate it because it's the city's project. And it's a 2-year process. Like once you put your permit in for this signalized intersection, it's a 2-year process. So part of what we're talking about, and in the same way we're talking about the pedestrian bridge, how long has it been taking, right? It wasn't just something that you instantly put up there. So this is important infrastructure. It's not just infrastructure for this commercial district. It's infrastructure for the Urban Renewal District. It's infrastructure for the health of that commercial hub that's been hung up for years. So we don't know I mean, we're making the formal request to the city council for that. And if somebody, there's not that many landowners left in that district, but everyone is willing, and we'd like to at least have the conversation, have something, so there's an awareness. Because what happens is a lot of different people are interested in the property, and the approach comes, and there's so many unknowns because the city is driving, it's the city's right of way, a signalized intersection that's the city. And it's part of the transportation plan, but then there's also been conversation back and forth about what is the point of Cedar Brook Way now having a commercial road dump into the high school turnaround. There's just a lot of conversation now because a lot of things have changed. So we really appreciate a look at that sooner rather than later. And then just in general, part of what Jim and we've been in this town a long time. We gifted the Robin Hood Theater to the city, and it was a process, and it had a lot of professionals involved, and it all got done. That was just one of the gifts that we gave to the city. So what Jim is suggesting is we have another gifting in mind that's also a process that needs cooperation, and the city highly benefited from that and every other gift we've given, and this will be the same type of a thing. So we would like an open hand, an open heart, and to move forward.
All right. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Jim, for coming today. And we'll get an answer to your questions outside.
Okay. Will we hear from staff then?
I don't have answers for you, so I don't know yet, but you'll get an answer.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so he's saying that they're going to get back to us. He doesn't know how they're doing it yet. They'll figure it out.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Sylvia, do we have any other public comment? And Brad, is there anybody online? Awesome, great. Well, we'll close that part of the agenda out. And this is going to be a brief meeting tonight. We're on to the city manager's report. Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things this evening. The first of all is this Friday, November 10th at 11 a.m. is our Veterans Day celebration. As part of this will be at the Sherwood Center for the Arts with a special guest speaker of Sig Unander presenting on the Red Tails, legendary American aviators. So hope to see everyone at that event. And the second thing is on November 30th from 5 to 8 p.m. is the Old Town Sherwood Art Walk. So looking forward to artists, live music, tasty treats. It's a family event, so hope everyone can make it down to the Old Town Sherwood Art Walk. So start off at the Sherwood Art Center and go from there.
Awesome.
Yep. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for our city manager?
The public comment did spur a question that had been in my mind for a while. I don't necessarily need an answer tonight, but since I've been on council and before that planning commission, I don't believe we've updated our transportation system plan. Do we have that on it's been a long time, I guess is the point I'm making. Do we have that on the agenda for some point in the next several years, or did we?
We've done it.
Yeah.
It is, I can't remember when it was last updated, but it's in the CIP, I think it's starting next year. I don't want to look at the CIP and let Keith get back to you, but it is.
Okay.
In the CIP. I do know that in the 5-year plan, but I think it's next year is the kickoff of it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Which will be timed well with Sherwood West.
Yeah.
I think that'll drive some updates.
I think
in
all our
TSP.
master plans are coming up here in the next 3 years or so. So
Great.
it's be a good time to do it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions for the city manager?
Just trying to think of a tough one, but I can't.
Mr. Council President Mays, do you have any questions for Keith?
Good.
You're good?
Thanks, Mayor.
All right. Ryan, do you have any questions for Keith? Or Chief? Any questions for Ryan or Chief?
He's trying to drag out the short meeting.
Not at this time, Your Honor.
I don't think we do.
Mayor,
think we're
I
good.
will comment real quick on Halloween. That was a great success. Love the new layout there. And I think we gave away at least 750 glow sticks. So I know we had a lot of business, although Sherwood Broadband tried to up us on their candy.
How many Almond Joys did you give away?
None.
That post is.
Because you saved them all for yourself. Because they're the best. Yeah, that's the best one in there. No, that was a great event. I got to see a little bit of it, and a lot of good Halloween stuff going on in town this year. So, any other questions? We good? We'll move on to council announcements. Kim, we'll start with you tonight.
I don't really have anything except I just would welcome Brock and Nash who are sitting in our audience. Those are our two youth going to be on our youth advisory group. So thank you guys for coming, and I hope that's a good experience. No, I don't have anything tonight.
Awesome, thank you.
I can't think of two better representatives. I went through Citizens University with both of these fine gentlemen and their mother several years ago when I first got on council. So that was a great experience, and I know how dedicated they are. So it's pretty cool. And thanks for being here. Just a couple thoughts and reminders. I'm always, this is the stuff Sean always used to talk about when he was on council, and so I'm kind of trying to remind myself to always do this. But now that we're set our clocks back, it's darker a lot earlier. It's windy, it's stormy. The lights aren't necessarily so bright when the trees are so big now. A little less full, but just be careful driving around. When I'm driving around, I see a lot of people walking, whether they're kids, adults, people on bikes. And a lot of them don't wear bright clothing, and I don't think they realize how hard it is to see them sometimes. So just be extra cautious, drive extra slow through the neighborhoods. People, bikes, other vehicles come out of nowhere sometimes. So just be extra cautious as we're darker a lot earlier. Went to Parks Board last night. Parks Board approved the cutting down of like 17 trees, so they're all dead. They're all dead trees. They're all dead. I'm not throwing under the bus. They're all dead. So. No. I was trying to get Kristen riled up back there. No, they're all dead. They do this every meeting. It's great. It's actually a great job by the city staff of they're constantly evaluating trees, looking at ones that are a hazard to the public because they might fall over and damage property or damage people. So they do a great job of identifying those, and by rule, they have to bring them to the Parks Board. The Parks Board approves them. And there was actually quite a few last night, so it was more than usual, but I was kidding. They also wanted to remind us all, they're starting the process of the Parks Board meeting a couple months back, went out to Murdoch Park, kind of looked around there, and they're now starting the process of essentially redesigning and redeveloping. A multi-year process of redesigning and redeveloping that park from the ground up, which definitely needs. It's one of the older parks in town, pretty outdated, needs a lot of TLC. So they're really excited about taking that project on and getting to look at what the possibilities could be and turn that into something new and wonderful for those people that are over there and everyone in the town to enjoy. The other thing they wanted to pass along is a reminder to us that I said we don't need it, but I appreciate it anyway, that the proceeds from the sale of the YMCA, or they're anxious to make sure that gets used for Parks and Rec, and particularly for park acquisition. I said, don't worry, we have the same thoughts in mind. So, but they did want me to pass along that reminder. So. And they have a bunch of new board members, so that was great. They filled the Parks Board back up, and one of them, Joy, will be on the Charter Review Committee. So it was a good meeting.
Awesome, thank you. Dan?
The Planning Commission met 2 weeks ago and discussed the food cart code, and it seems like it's pretty close to being ready to present to council now, as well as working on the climate-friendly equitable communities code. Even though that's still in litigation, we were working on what applied to us at this point and kind of working through the challenges of what it presents to our city. Very productive, though. I attended the Old Town trick-or-treating as well with my family, and it was well attended. Probably the most people I've seen in many years down there. I don't know what was bringing the dry weather, I guess. It's warm enough. But it was really nice to use the new plaza for space instead of just being a parking lot. I attended the Diwali festival at the community center, or the arts center this last weekend with my family, and that was great as well. I love that we continue to put on these different diverse events for the community here. And I think that's all I got.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Mr. Mays, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'm getting old. I remember 20 years ago when we redid Murdoch Park. Time again, but to do a little more in depth this time. Rotary actually helped tear down the version before that, so it's exciting that that's in the process of being dreamed up. I want to thank staff for getting up all the holiday lights. They look great in these dark days, dark mornings, dark evenings. And I heard great things also about the Halloween day, jam-packed with folks. I'm sorry I wasn't able to see it, but great that it was being used that way. Doug, thanks for reminding everyone to be safe. People that are driving and the people that are walking or biking. It made me remember when I was traveling in May, I was visiting, I was overseas, and all the kids by law that were walking to school all wore safety vests. I said, I don't think that'll ever happen here, but when people are walking around, and it was during the day, everyone had to wear safety vests. But it would be certainly advisable for folks in our community to be wearing bright stuff when they are out, so we can make it easier to see them, and all drivers drive super slow. So, and that's all I got, Mayor.
Thank you. I think Councilor Young has one more thing to
I
say.
did. I just remembered. I just thank our Public Works for our leaf pickup. I did a little bit of research, and I don't think a lot of cities do that service. And
Or at least for free.
well, at least for free, for sure. Well, I mean, somehow we pay for it, but that I saw lots of people getting their leaves ready, leaving room between the curb and where the leaves so the truck can go and the guy can vacuum them up. And I think we all get one more round of that before the season's over, because I don't know, I have a tree that doesn't drop the leaves till like the last minute. So anyways, thank Public Works for that. Out in the rainy weather is never fun, but they get it done.
Awesome, thank you. I just have a couple things. The Metro Mayors Coalition or Consortium met with Metro to talk about solid waste. Very exciting conversation. Metro's working through their regional solid waste plan, trying to address some of the inconsistencies in terms of service locations, like self-haul locations, hazardous waste drop-off. As anyone who lives in Sherwood knows, we have to go a long ways to get to some of those services. And so they're working through that, and Metro Mayors are, especially on in the Washington County side, are pretty intent that there's some geographic equity as we look at how that's distributed and how that's paid for as well. So that was a really good conversation. I had my monthly meeting with the Washington County mayors. Earlier this week, we got to meet the new sheriff that's going to be taking over for Pat Garrett, who's retiring here, I think, on December 1st. So that was a great conversation, and as the rest of council got to meet Caprice just earlier in a work session. So that was really good. And I just want to kind of amplify some things that were already said. The holiday Halloween in the downtown area was great, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time out there because I had to get over to the Pirates of Pinehurst, which I might be one of the instigators on, to make sure that was going well. And great turnout downtown. We had a great turnout over in Pinehurst. Just a lot of fun stuff going on for Halloween in the city. The weather was great, which I think contributed to a great turnout, and I think the Sherwood Main Street did a really good job organizing the event this year and kind of added some things to it, which I think helped turn out. And as always, our police department and public works department did an amazing job of setting up, keeping the event safe, keeping the roads closed in an organized manner, getting our safety barricades up and all that. So big thank you to all of you for that. Trying to think if I have anything else. I think That's it. We do have another meeting after this. So if there's no more questions, anything for the good of the order? All right, we'll go ahead and agenda this, or we'll end this meeting, and we'll be going into executive session. Thank you, everybody.